You have to shut her down. Jesus Christ, I thought we were friends.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 horror science fiction film M3GAN. The film is directed by Gerard Johnson and it stars Alison Williams, Violet McGraw, Ronnie Cheng, Arnie Donald, Jenna Davis and Brian Jordan Alvarez. Now M3GAN, I'm sure most of you watching this have heard of M3GAN at this point. It's had a trailer that's pretty much gone viral. It's getting some really good feedback and buzz. So while this was a film I wasn't overly interested in initially, it certainly raised my interest because of a lot of the positive feedback that the film has been getting. And the film focuses on Alison Williams' character, Gemma, who is like a scientist, you know, she's like a genius really in regards to robotics and things like that. And she has to take in her niece, Cody, after her family is, after her family, her mum and dad is killed in like a tragic car accident. However, she's not prepared for parenthood at all. She doesn't know how to connect with this young girl who is struggling to come to terms with the death of her parents. So she comes up with an idea. She's trying to develop a new toy for the company she works for, a new doll that will revolutionise toys for children, but also she needs someone to test it on, and she thinks her niece Katie would be a good idea. So she introduces her to M3GAN, who is this super advanced robotic doll that kind of interacts with you and kind of thinks for itself. Guess what? It doesn't really end well, and the doll goes on a murderous rampage. Right, so what are my thoughts on M3GAN? Well, this film is certainly very, very entertaining. That's the first thing I want to say. It's nicely made. There's good performances, I think, by everybody, even if I think many of the characters are fairly forgettable. And not particularly overly interesting, I guess, some of the characters. But I did quite like the dynamic between Alison Williams and Violet McGraw's character. You know, the fact that she's not ready for parenthood at all, and this young girl who's really struggling to come to terms with the death of her parents, all this kind of stuff. So you got that whole dynamic going on. I thought that was pretty nicely done. And then we get the introduction of M3GAN. And I just think the effects, number one, the effects for M3GAN were, I think, fantastic. I mean, sometimes it looked really innocent and really, you know, impressive. And at other times it just looked really sinister. And you kind of question why anybody would leave their child alone with it. You know what I mean? It kind of floats along that line really cleverly. But to me, while I did think this film was really entertaining, and I thought the effects were good, for me, this film was also quite predictable. It kind of followed the arc that I expected it to, and it didn't give me any surprises at all, really. I mean, it's one of those films, pretty much, if you've seen the trailer, you pretty much know what you're going to get with this film. And, you know, psychopathic dolls, you know, of being a mainstay of cinema for many, many decades. You know what I mean? You've got Chucky, you've got Annabelle, you know, you've got so many more as well. It's a premise that works well when done well, and this film certainly does it well. It doesn't necessarily do a great deal different, is what I'm trying to say. So it's not a film that really, what you could say, takes risks or anything like that. It just plays around with the genre, and it does it in a fairly effective way. And it does it in a way where it, you know, the intensity and the violence, you know, slowly escalates as the film goes on, sort of thing. So you can kind of predict where it's going. But that's not to say that it's not fun when you're watching it, sort of thing, you know. But it's got the usual things in a film that you would expect like this. It's got the dick of a boss, you know what I mean, who's just not very nice. He's only got one thing on his mind, which is profits and all this kind of stuff. And he's played by Ronnie Cheng. You've got the neighbour who's got a violent dog that keeps crapping on the yard, sort of thing. You know what I mean? You kind of know where that's heading. So you've got the bully, you know, when she takes the doll to kind of like a school outing sort of thing, and they've got a boy who likes to bully people. You know where that's heading, you know what I mean? So it is quite predictable. It ticks all the right boxes, I suppose. It just doesn't, for me, do anything particularly new with this genre. It is pretty creepy at times. The scenes with M3GAN running on all fours is disturbing, I suppose it's fair to say. And some of the things that she says, it's just so cold how she says it, and you know, it does kind of make your bones chill a little bit. So it's a good time, really, at the cinema. If this is the sort of thing that you're interested in checking out, then I would definitely suggest you do it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you want to go and watch a film that you think is kind of going to breathe kind of, you know, a new life into this subgenre of horror, then it probably is, because the film is a success, mainly due, you know, to that, you know, viral trailer and the dance sequence and that M3GAN does and all that kind of stuff. And it probably does deserve some success because it is nicely made. But it's nothing new, you know what I mean? And that is my only real disappointment here with this film, in the sense of it doesn't necessarily deliver anything new to the genre. So, is this your sort of thing? Check it out if you do. I mean, it is what it is, really. You know what I mean? I was very happy watching this film. But I wasn't necessarily fulfilled while watching this film. But definitely, guys, check it out. I think it is worth, certainly, you know, spending a few quid at the cinema to check this one out if it's the sort of film that interests you. I'm giving M3GAN a 7 out of 10. It would have been an 8 out of 10 if it had maybe taken a few more risks, or maybe wasn't just as predictable as it certainly presented. But anyway, yeah, check it out if you get the opportunity. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.